Good morning, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm glad you joined us here. We're here today at Seven Peaks Ice Arena in Provo. This is where they play the hockey games. And we have tonight with us two coaches and my color man. This is?
Burke Swinson.
And if I didn't say it, I'm Al Oder, Matt. Okay, and your name is?
Wayne Woodhall.
Wayne Woodhall.
And I'm Kurt Riemond.
Okay. If you could, please tell us, what do you do for a living and how did you get into hockey and coaching?
Well, I'm a correctional officer up at the Utah State Prison, and I've been playing hockey since I was about 6 years old. Worked my way, played travel a lot, played juniors in Minnesota. Ended up coaching a little bit in California before I moved out here. Started coaching high school hockey, and it's been since 2006 that I've been coaching high school hockey.
That's pretty good. And you, Coach?
Yeah, I started playing on the pond in Michigan. I really did. And then started playing high school hockey. I played juniors, junior hockey. And then one day here in Utah, my son came home and had some kind of a little slip of paper that said there were hockey sign-ups down at Utah Lake. And I looked at the wife and there was no financial discussion. I said, we're signing up for hockey. And that was 20 years ago and three sons later.
Good. What type of work do you do?
Oh, I'm in software sales.
Pardon?
Software sales.
Oh, okay. I'd never used a computer until I was 35 years old.
Oh, it's all about sales for Kurt, though. He's a sales guy.
Yeah. During the course of the season, I know you had a couple of tough losses where the team got beat pretty good. How do you get the team to come back from that?
Well, I think a lot of that has to do with keeping it positive, trying to focus on, using every game as a practice in a way. We would end up looking at what they were doing right and what they were doing wrong out there, try to incorporate it in our practices afterwards, and keep them really focused on the big picture. Another thing too is that a lot of those away games, you get kids that just won't travel and stuff like that to the locations, and so don't have a full team.
Yeah, it's hard when you're playing short, no subs, or very few.
Yeah, and I think wasn't it? Did we win all the games here at home? I know it's 2 and 4 on the road. So.
Yeah, if we didn't win them all at home, it was pretty close. Yeah. I don't know the exact stats.
I think I was looking at it before, and I think we won all the ones here at home, but the road was 2 and 4. And kind of as you were saying, you're traveling to Logan, you're traveling to Cedar City. Kurt loves the road games.
I love the road games.
I know.
But Wayne and I have learned a lot over the years as coaches, and about the only time we lay into them is if we don't feel like there was ever any effort. That's when we get a little bit upset, as if we don't feel like there was effort. But other than that, like Wayne said, we use each experience as a chance to teach them what they need to know in the next couple of practices.
I know. Which do you think the team comes back the hardest from? Those 1-point losses or the 5?
They do tend to get down more on themselves with the bigger losses, the more goals that are scored against them. But like I said before, it is a learning experience for them to where they do, you're not going to win at everything, and you got to come back and teach them to to strive to be better each time.
Yeah.
And you guys were on the receiving or the giving end, usually more on those. I mean, you had 16-1 against Riverton, 10-1 against Olympus. I mean, you guys usually, a lot of the losses were pretty close. You had that one, I think it was against Bingham, that was a really, guys were up 4-0. I think they came back, won, and that was another one where you didn't have a lot of kids there. Kids were wore out by the end of the game. Kurt and I talked about that one after.
Yeah, we did. We had a good conversation about that. And the truth is, when we're beating teams by some of the margins which we beat them by, it's tough for us because we don't want to sit and pummel anybody. And so what Coach Wayne and I usually do is we say, okay, guys, let's just tone it down. Let's work on passing. And let's work on things that we know we're going to need in the game some other time.
Yeah.
And there were some really good experiences we had with that. When we even incorporate our 2 or 3 mandatory pass rule before you can shoot. And so we try to keep things under control so that it's still fun for the other team.
But there's just some games where they just
games
get in the back of the net.
It's hard to hold those thoroughbreds back once you let them go.
I had something else I wanted to ask you, but this segment's getting short, so I want to talk about the big championship game.
Okay.
Tell us about that game.
Well, it was kind of interesting going into it because we actually lost to them in the regular season. So it was kind of one of those things that we knew that we could beat them because we actually did beat them in a tournament that we had over the holidays.
And in the playoffs.
Yeah, and then, the playoffs as well. But there was still that little bit of doubt, it's like, can we do it? Can we pull it off? When playoffs come around, it's a different breed. It's kind of more who wants it more.
Yeah. Well, I know their goalkeeper had a better goalie percentage saves than yours. And so I told the people at home, this should be a close game.
And we do have some awesome goalies, but keeping those goalies focused has always been a challenge. Great kids, but definitely a challenge keeping them focused and keeping their minds in the game.
Well, if I was going to give a player of the game award, it would have gone to the goalie in that first game, except for the one that he banked her off right to the player and he scored. But other than that, he was outstanding. He stopped at least 2 clear breakaways and some other good shots.
And Skylar was a goalie for Kurt coming up through the house league and everything. And so when we both coached him, I mean, we knew Skylar was that goalie that, hey, if he's on and he's heads in the game and he's focused, he's going to, not much is getting past him. But he had a tendency of kind of like getting a goal or getting frustrated. And I know Kurt spoke with him at late throughout the tournament.
I spoke with him at the beginning of every game, and Skylar is like most athletes. He puts more pressure on himself than anybody else does. And I just looked at him, I said, look, we don't need you to be perfect. Just let in 1 less goal than the other teams, just let 1 less goal in and we'll be fine. I said, don't put pressure on yourself. And then there were some other things that are personal that I told him, but we took the pressure off of it.
We had 2 goals in the first period, no goals in the second.
Right.
How many in the third period?
For which game?
Championship.
The championship. Well, you asked about the championship. Going into the third period, it was 2-0 our lead. And we told the boys between periods, look, there's nothing worse than a 2-goal lead because they can get 1-2 real quick, tie game, then they're more motivated than us. Well, suddenly we scored number 3 and number 4, and then the lights kind of came on. I started looking at Wayne. It's like, we're going to win this thing. They did score 1 goal the other team scored 1 goal in the third period, but after our 4th goal, I knew we were going to win the championship.
Yeah, that was good. Gentlemen, it's been a pleasure talking with you. We're going to take a break, come back, talk to a couple of players.
Okay.
And before we take a break, let me remind you at home that you can watch that championship game if you go to video.sfcn.org and then follow the green bar, follow your promptings, and you'll be able to watch a great game. See you in a minute. Hi, welcome back. Hope you enjoyed our little break. We did here. And let me introduce you to a couple of the players. And you are?
I'm Aiden Swenson.
And you are?
I'm Caden Remond.
How long have you guys been skating and or playing hockey?
Skating about 12 years, playing hockey 10 years.
10. That's a good number of years.
Probably about the same for me.
About the same. Okay. One thing, your team seems to be made up of some pretty good guys. You plan on staying in touch with any of them through school, after college, whatever?
Hopefully, that we get through everything, but
it's a little tougher for me. I'm the only player on our team that goes to Maple Mountain, but yeah, it would be nice to stay in touch with them.
Yeah, it's always good to keep in touch because you never know. Guys go into the service and they make lifelong friendships, and hopefully this can work for you guys.
So, I mean, speaking of the good guys on the team, if you look back over the entire season, what was your best memory of the season? You're not going to have the same one, so you're going to have to come up with your own.
I like the tournament over the holidays. That was pretty fun playing in a tournament with the team.
Okay, so you guys did a little high school hockey tournament. You guys played really well in it, ended up making it to the championship game, playing pretty well against a tough Idaho Falls team. So
Yeah, that was really fun.
Probably the best memories are just in the locker room, just talking smack to each other and
that
trying to
never
make each other
happens.
better.
Is that how you guys survive the smell in the locker room? Is by talking smack to each other?
Yeah.
It doesn't
pretty
smell in
much.
the locker
Oh,
room. What are you
it
talking
reeks.
about?
It's so bad. Speaking of which, I mean, do you know why Aiden doesn't wear socks with his skates?
Same reason he doesn't.
Do you know? Neither one of you? Does it make you skate faster?
Obviously.
Because you guys got to get the mic up. Yeah, it doesn't. It makes my car stink is what it does. So.
About the games, I asked the coaches this. When you have a loss, which bothers you the most? The total wipeout where they beat you bad, or where you lose by that one goal? Which do you think affects you the most?
Probably the wipeout. I mean, if you're getting beat more than 1 or 2 goals, then clearly you aren't playing the best that you can, and you know you aren't.
Is it hard to keep your focus when you're losing that bad? I mean, is it easy? That's what the coaches said when they talked to us earlier. They said, we don't mind what the score is in the game, it's just the effort. And usually, if you guys were putting in an effort, you were in the games. But there were a couple games, the Skyview game up in Logan, where it looked like there was just no effort there. It looked like everyone. So, I mean, what do you think? You like? I mean, I know I know you hear it all the way home from me on the way home from the games that there's no effort. So.
Yeah, I think the blowouts are a little worse than the close games, because close games you usually are a lot more effort, and the ones that you don't are usually
So the close games,
lot
at least you
further
can like
away,
look back
yeah.
and find some positives from it. Where the blowouts,
Yeah.
it's like, oh, we just got killed.
Do you guys play other sports besides hockey?
not anymore.
Not anymore. What
I
did
used-
you play?
I used to play lacrosse, baseball, football. I've kind of tried it all, but it's the
Hockey's
only
your
sport
it.
that I've stuck with.
He pretty much plays hockey all year round.
Yeah, I played a lot of sports too, but just hockey is just the one that I love the most. And
You settled into hockey as your thing.
yeah, hockey's just
In fact, and I just remember this now, you guys actually played on the same baseball team in the state tournament because you got picked
Yeah.
up. Yeah,
Yep.
I just remembered that, yeah. So you guys
Yep.
back when they both played baseball.
Yeah. It's a bummer. I got picked off once. Oh.
Yeah. So since this is the sport you focused on, what is it about hockey that you love? What is it that, makes hockey the one you only want to play?
for me, it's the one that makes me want to be better and just strive to get better, and it's most physically demanding, and it's just, I love the sport.
Now, people say football's more physically demanding than hockey.
But hockey, you're constantly going. Football, you stop.
Yeah, a lot of whistles in football.
Yeah, I think it's the combination of contact and the speed and everything that goes along with it.
So speaking of that contact, what's it like when you guys get a big hit on a player? When you just light a guy up, what does that feel like?
Well, if it hurts you a little worse, it's not quite as great, but laying out a good hit feels pretty good.
Yes, because Caden's got a little more weight than Aiden. I mean, Aiden puts all 107 pounds into his hits, but Caden, what does it feel like for you?
Feels pretty good if you can see the guy land on his butt.
Does it hurt? Does it hurt you as much, or I guess it shouldn't, right?
No, unless you hit him in a wrong position for yourself,
Okay.
or you get a stick to the arms or the legs.
Well, I saw a few of the games in the latter playoffs. You guys were missing a lot of those forechecks they were throwing at you. They show you how you can skate along, and then you see them coming and burst, and is that what you were doing? Or is it just luck?
It's timing, right?
Yeah, a lot of timing goes into it. Just you got to know what you're doing.
Okay.
But
Well, you guys both play defense. You're both the defense players. Do you guys ever dream of playing offense? I mean, because offense gets the girls, right? I mean, do you guys ever want to get up and score?
I think defense, you get a lot more opportunities. At least for our team, if you're playing defense, you're going to be out there a lot more often, and if the other team's trying to break it out, most likely you're going to end up with the puck because you're the furthest back, so you'll have an opportunity.
The coaches have kind of given you guys the green light as defense to skate it up. They say, if you got a breakaway, take it, skate it up. Kate, I think you ended up with like 12 goals, I think, for the season, 12 assists. Aiden, you had like 4 goals and 7 assists. So defense usually might get a little bit more assists, but on this team, the coaches kind of said, hey, no, if you got the puck, skate it up and go get it started. So
it was good defense that kept you in that championship game through that second period. Because when you guys went up by 2, they came alive a little bit and they started skating. Tell us a little bit about that championship game and from your point of views.
Aiden missed the championship game. We
won't talk about that.
That's why he just handed the mic over to Caden.
After second period, when we had that 15 or so minute break, we sat down and said, we need to play better and we can't let up, because that's our biggest problem. We have a 1 or 2 goal lead and we just get so confident that the game's it's over, and then we just don't play, we don't give any more effort.
Yeah.
So after second period, we had to kick it back up.
Did anybody of the players say anything to the goalie when they took that lazy, slow shot and he just bumped it off right to the other team and they scored? Anybody say anything to him?
I just felt bad for him because he ruined his shutout. The last period, I think like less than 6 minutes or so left in the game.
I told the coaches, my opinion, he was the player of the game because he saved those 2 clear breakaways and several really good hard shots. He did a super job on the goal for you.
Yeah, Skylar played amazing throughout the whole tournament.
All season long.
We were switching off with him and Evan as our other goalie, and we all felt comfortable with Skylar, and we had the confidence in him, and he really showed.
So you guys are both seniors next year, looking towards big things for your senior year?
I guess so. Hopefully we can get another state championship, finish off our high school experience.
You guys lost 3 seniors this year. You'll have a couple kids coming up, but yeah, good luck next year. Hopefully we'll be hanging a 3rd banner up there. We got 2 banners over there for the Lone Wolves. We get one more next year before you guys graduate. So great season. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Fellas, we appreciate you coming tonight and talking to us. We're going to go over some stats with the coaches about how good your team really is, and I tell you, they're really good. So thanks for coming, fellas.
Thank you.
And we'll be back in a few minutes. Hi there, glad to be back with you. And we're back with the 2 coaches, Coach Woodall and Renan. And we're going to talk very briefly here about some of the scoring and the stats and how good the team really was. And for that, I'm going to have to use my cheat sheet because I don't memorize this stuff. UCI, in scoring by period, we had 45 goals through the season up to the playoffs. And your opponent had 18. And UCI in the second period had 31. The opponents, 15. And in the third period, UCI was 37 and the opponents were 22. The totals for the season, and that really highlights how good your team was, 113 goals, the opponents only 53.
See, that's what I was talking about, that blowouts. You guys were on the other end of that a lot.
Yeah, would you imagine how bad they feel?
On the right end of that a lot, I should say. But yeah, that kind of surprised me actually, because I felt like you guys were kind of more of a second, third period team. But so to look at that and see that you guys actually scored more goals in the first period kind of surprises me, because it didn't feel that way. Did it feel that way to you guys?
No, actually, I think as a whole team, we played better in the third periods, and I think even though we didn't score necessarily as many goals, we were forcing the play a lot more, which made it look like, I felt like we dominated more in the third periods of most games.
Yeah. I think in that championship game, you could see that. I commented on air that here it is almost 11 o'clock at night. These are high school kids having fun all day at school, PE, running around, doing whatever, and you guys were in good shape, good physical conditioning. And it could tell because in my opinion, that's how you got those 4 goals against that other team, Skyview, because they just ran out of gas.
Yeah, and we did have a bit of a break between the regular season and when the championships began, and so we stressed, Coach Wayne and I stressed, you guys have got to get out and stay in shape, do conditioning all through the break so that you're ready to go when we do get into the championship. And we feel like they did a good job of that, on their own, by the way.
Well, and I think a lot of that too is like those blowout games that you had. It seemed like if it was a blowout, I remember it was as difficult as us calling the game, because it's like 6-0 in the first period. You're like, wow, how do you make this interesting? What do we talk about from here? You know, but I tell them about the 3-pass rule and how you switch positions sometimes or whatever. So, but I think on the closer games is where it really stood out when you guys would come through in the third period. All season long, it was just, there was that nervousness of it, but.
Yeah, they're high school kids, and sometimes it takes a while to get them motivated. And I was surprised by the stat as to how many goals were scored first period. Because like I say, it takes a while to get them going sometimes. Yeah.
Well, and speaking of which, I mean, with the goals here, I mean, we're just kind of looking here at the stats, and Rem Sefik, number 45, and Jason Rencher, number 19, 38 points and 37 points. Yeah. Both seniors, losing both of them this year. So I guess the question to you guys, where are you guys going to get that 75 points for next year?
That's a problem.
Yeah.
The interview is over.
We're done here.
No, actually, each year it seems to surprise me. I always go into the season going, how can we top, the year from before? And it always seems like we end up getting those other players that, they come out of the woodwork, or it ends up being that the players that were on the team just start stepping it up. I remember when Jason wasn't really one of the better players on the team. He was just an average player. And as some of the other players moved on, he stepped into that role and really made a difference.
Well, it's speaking of which, like players falling in, I mean, Matt was one that did, Matt Artegas, he was a third league scorer, 33 points. He wasn't on the team last year. We get him this year. He really contributed. He was a leading assist at 14 assists. I think a majority of his assists came from shots, because he was taking shots. Guys would get his rebounds. So you've got we got Aiden and Caden here. Both those guys will be seniors next year. You'll have a crop of freshmen coming up from the Bantam leagues. The house leagues here. They move up. We've got some pretty solid kids look alike that could come up there. So what do you guys think the chances are of repeating?
Well, honestly,
You cursed us.
I always think we have a decent chance. Whether or not there's another championship, I just don't know. But I think that we'll always have a fairly strong team. Another thing too is that we do have those kids moving up. There's works on having a middle school team this summer to try to prepare some of the kids for the following years, which should help as well.
Yeah, Coach Wayne and I will be busy this summer, like he just said, trying to develop and fill those voids. I will tell you this, when we hit the ice last fall, I didn't know some of the players that we had picked up, and I actually skated off the ice to our trustee Shannon and said, wow. Yeah. I was so impressed with what we had on the ice, and I felt all along we had a shot at it. I really did.
Quick question, sorry about that, before we have to close. How do you recommend parents that think their kids would enjoy hockey get involved and get their kids into hockey?
Well, the Peaks has some really great programs, for kids to get into. Also, we're doing a summer league as well. Beginners can all join. It doesn't matter if you've got any experience or not. And there's programs all around. They can always contact any of us coaches, and the rink will give any information as well.
And as you mentioned, Foster and Tucker both done a great job here building the program. We had a couple, our Bantam team played the championship, won the championship. Our Squirt team played at the championship. So future looks really bright here for hockey in Utah County. So and now we got now they can look and say, hey, we can win the state championship down here. So, but great season, guys. We told the boys congratulations. Congratulations to you guys. It was a fun season to watch. I enjoyed calling the games.
Yeah. You'll be back next year.
Oh yeah, I'm going to be here anyways. I'm going to be here. I'm here everywhere. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, we'll be here next year.
Last question, then we got to go. You going to be affiliated or independent next year?
I'm sure we'll be independent next year, just because of the makeup of the team.
Yeah, the affiliated ones are usually associated with high schools.
We'll be independent as well.
For
the reason
a long
for that
time.
is because it's the joining of the
Several.
different schools. To be an affiliated team, you have to be all from the same school. Otherwise, we combine, and that's what
Since
makes
we only
it.
got one kid from Maple Mountain and a couple kids from Smash Fork, we'll start to stay independent. So.
Okay. Coaches, Burke, I really want to thank you. You've made this a great, very interesting program, and I hope lots of people get to see it. Tell your friends.
Thank you.
Folks, thanks for joining us. We'll catch you next time.
If you would like to download a copy of this program or the hockey matches, go to sfcn.org. Then click on SF17. From there, select SF17 videos. Then select Sports and follow the menu to the hockey section. This is a free service from Spanish Fork 17 and SFCN.